Baseball is coming to a head and football is heating up. So you know what's going on tonight. It is Wednesday night and we are live. And well, welcome everybody to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watts2K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to join me for the Wednesday Night Live extravaganza. And I have a lot of things on my mind. First thing I'm going to say tonight, if anybody in the 3 and Out is looking for me to talk about the Mets and everything that's been going on, I can't do it here. It deserved its own video. That's how pissed off I am at Major League Baseball first and the Atlanta Braves as well about these games being postponed when it could have been handled much better. But we're going to get into the Jets, of course, in the main event tonight. Going to do a little preview. I got a new idea for how we're going to do the game preview on this show. So hopefully it's something that you dig. We'll get into that a little bit later. And, of course, plenty of other things to talk about regarding Gang Green. The news is coming out. There's news every day on this team. Man, it's not a slow day in Jets land anymore. And sometimes the news is actually good. You got to love it. But first, let's talk about what's on my mind with a little bit of what we like to call 3 and Out. So first, in baseball with the New York Yankees, they lose last night 5-3 to Baltimore. Gleyber Torres has a base running gaff. But you know what? He's been hitting very well as of late, so it's much more forgivable. Yankees now 5 games up on the O's in the AL East. So with 5 games left, the Yankees clinching the East and a first-round bye is just a matter of time. But Baltimore does clinch a playoff berth despite losing 7 of their last 10. They are all but locked in as the top wild card. But there is concerning news for the Bronx Bomber. Next, Nestor Cortez, who was the scheduled starter for tonight's game, has now been put on the 15-day IL with a left elbow flexor strain. He's been great lately. His last 15 innings, only 1 earned run allowed, and it wasn't sure how he was going to be used in the postseason, whether as a starter or reliever, but he would be one of the most relied pitchers on this Yankees staff, and now he is gone for the foreseeable future, certainly for at least the ALDS. So now Marcus Stroman, one of my favorite human beings of all time, he's going to start Wednesday in Cortez's place. Stroman has not thrown a pitch in 8 days. So that game will be starting shortly. Let's see how that one goes tonight. As far as the Knicks go, I'm going to do a little basketball. I haven't talked basketball for a while. You know, my biggest concern going into a season when I am genuinely excited about the Knicks, maybe as excited as I have been in 20 years, is their depth at the center position. Do they have enough size to play with a Boston, with a Cleveland, with a Philadelphia, even in Indiana? Can they get through? Because now Mitchell Robinson, who is basically their only legitimate center who played last year with Isaiah Hartenstein gone to Oklahoma City, he is out till December or January because he's still rehabbing the ankle that he hurt in that Philadelphia series. So where is the depth? Do I have to see Julius Randle play center for the Knicks this year? Is that what we're talking about? You know, Tom Thibodeau has admitted he was going to play Randle maybe 10 to 15 minutes a game at center, see how that works. Unless somebody steps up, that's going to become 25 to 30 minutes very quickly. And look at what else the Knicks have. You know, Marcus Morris was just signed to a non-guaranteed deal. Morris is a very good veteran, had a strong stint with the Knicks about 5 years ago before he was traded. You know, the Knicks actually for Morris got a 2020 first-round pick. That pick was used to draft Emmanuel Quigley, and he was then flipped for OG Anunoby just this past year in the Toronto trade. Now, Morris is a good, tough player, but he's 35 years old. He's only 6'8". Precious Achiuwa was brought back. He's tough, but doesn't give you much size. Jericho Sims is still hanging around. We're all wondering what's going to happen with him, if he's ever going to develop and become a decent player. I'm worried. People are saying, Knicks, get a center, get a center. But right now, with what's available, it's like close shopping at Burlington, when at least before you had something decent. I'm not saying the Knicks need to shop at Brooks Brothers, but can we do a little bit better than Walmart? I'm just saying. All right. And I see Harlan Abraham, gold world champion Celtics. Well, I guess Harlan likes things that are green. What can I say? Now, as far as the New York Giants go, speaking of football, we are after all in MetLife Stadium, as you can see. I want to say a thing or two about the Giants. Good win for them, 21-15 beating Cleveland. Malik Neighbors, hey, he's proven to be a great weapon. Nobody could doubt his talent. Just had a few doubts about where he was mentally and, was he going to really hold up in that way? The scouting reports I heard on him, he could take plays off. You are not seeing that at all. He does have to get the drops out of his game, though. That is another thing that has to happen. But the defense started to really show up. Brian Burns was 7 pressures. Dexter Lawrence was 6 pressures. But now things step up for Big Blue. They play 6 teams in a row that had winning records last year. They got the Cowboys at home Thursday night on a short week to start off. Now, Dak Prescott has won 12 games in a row against the Giants. And yes, I know Dallas did rally late against a Baltimore team that was very desperate. They came up short, but Dallas is reeling right now, reeling. Just think about the run game that Dallas has, both on offense and defense. Against Baltimore, they did not have a single run more than 6 yards. But then again, when your top running backs are Ezekiel Elliott and Romeo Dowdy or whatever his name is, Rico Dowdy, it doesn't even matter what his name is. How much can you really expect? And I don't see how the Cowboys' offensive line handles the Giants' pass rush. But the defense on Dallas, shockingly bad. The last 2 weeks in the run game, they allowed 190 yards and 274 yards. And of those 464 total, about half of them came before contact. The defensive line is getting they can't get to the running back. They are getting blown off. Harlan with a point that I've had in mind. Dallas should try to trade for Izzy. Hey, let's throw Reddick in there. Let's see what we can get back. I think they'll trade CeeDee Lamb for that. I don't know. I don't know if that package would work. But Dallas doesn't have a whole lot of players realistically that they would trade that I would want. And again, I'm not interested in making a trade for draft picks. If the Jets are trading for something, it is for a player who can help right now. So the Giants, Thursday night, they got to run the ball right at Dallas to try to nullify Micah Parsons somewhat. And in the last 2 games, here's another stat about this, the doomed Dallas defense. Opposing quarterbacks in the last 2 games, 8 total incomplete passes. And last I checked, it's not Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. It was Daniel Jones and Daniel Jones and Lamar Jackson. Not Daniel Jones. What am I talking about? Daniel Jones is this week. I'm sorry. But anyway, Jones can feast if he has the protection. So I think a lot of people are picking Dallas, but I'm telling you, the Giants, a little upset special. I have had too many times making my picks, guys, and maybe you're guilty of this too. I have a strong feeling that an upset could happen, but I don't always have the nerve to say, yes, it's going to happen. Take the points, but I can't take the outright win. I might take the Giants this week straight up. Just a little heads up there. Harlan Abraham is very right. Hit the like button, folks. Yep, I see we got quite a few people here in the chat, but so far it's a Harlan Abraham monologue going on right now. If this keeps up, we might just have a conversation about 60s Jets football all day. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, let's get rid of the 3 and out, and let's do a little bit of a recap of the Jets-Patriots game. This is where we get into the snap counts, break down a couple of extra stats that take you just a little bit deeper behind the scenes. So let's make that a little bit bigger. There we go. Recapping Game 3. Isn't that just a beautiful picture, first of all? Aaron Rodgers smiling, about to slap a 5 with Breece Hall. That was so cool, by the way, in the press conference today. Breece Hall sneaks in and asks Aaron Rodgers a question about running back usage. You got to love it. But yes, please tell me how it's a dysfunctional locker room. So a couple things about this game. I like the up-tempo start the Jets had. It seemed like on that first drive or two, they were going no huddle. Robert Saleh, good job by him. He said that because of the overtime game the Patriots played on Sunday, they wanted to get off to a quick start and put more pressure and mental fatigue on the Patriots defense, and it worked. Even though the Jets didn't score on their first drive, they were able to move the ball until a penalty derailed that drive. So that is Robert Saleh making some adjustments. I like that. Tyler Conklin getting 93 yards. I thought that was very encouraging. We know Aaron Rodgers loves to use his tight ends, and you started to see that usage this past Thursday night. The Jets as an offense have 9 touchdowns on offense through 3 weeks. Last year, to get 9 offensive touchdowns, it took until week 11. The difference is unbelievable. 148 yards after the catch the Jets had. The Jets are getting their guys in space. I mean, Jets were running open all day. Not just Garrett Wilson, but Tyler Conklin was open. Breece Hall was getting space. Jeremy Ruckert even got open a time or two. And Rodgers was able to find those receivers. That's the thing. Rodgers will take what the defense gives him. So many young quarterbacks don't do that. We saw that with Zach Wilson, even with Sam Darnold to an extent. A good quarterback has restraint and will get down the field however it takes. That takes mental toughness. Now, Tyron Smith has been pretty good, but he was blamed with 6 pressures and both sacks that the Jets did surrender on the game. Something that's worth watching going into this week against Denver. Sauce Gardner. Interesting how nobody's talking about Sauce this week, isn't it? Guys, has anybody heard about Sauce Gardner this week? Anybody? No? I didn't hear it either because you know what? He did his job, and there's really no story to talk about when he does his job. He allowed 9 yards in coverage, but that won't get any attention. DJ Reed, back from injury, 1 yard allowed. I'd say the knee is looking pretty good. And the missed tackles getting better by the week. Week 1, 18 missed tackles against the Niners. Week 2, 9 missed tackles against the Titans, only 7 against New England. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's get into snap counts from this game. Let's look at the major stats and how the snaps went either up or down. That's right. Harlan is right. Hit the like button. That's right. 15 likes, we just might spin the wheel. All right, we look at offense. Let's start there. 73 snaps, that's 16 up from week 2 against Tennessee. Offense was on the field for 40 minutes. You got to love this. Aaron Rodgers played all 73 snaps at quarterback. Breece Hall, 11 more snaps. Braylon Allen went up 13. Isaiah Davis with 3 snaps as well. Welcome to the league. So he got a few carries in there also. Wide receiver Garrett Wilson, 64 snaps, up 9 from last week. So towards the end of the game, he was out for a period of time. Allen Lazard went up 14 snaps. He had 61. Mike Williams, 33 snaps, actually down 4 from week 2. I guess there was really no need to push it. Xavier Gibson, 15 snaps, up 9. So you can see, come garbage time, the Jets were putting in a few different receivers. Solomon Thomas actually got 2 offensive snaps as a fullback. Malachi Corley did not get in the game, I don't believe. Yeah, I don't think Corley had any snaps. All right, and we're going to get into Malachi Corley just a little bit later. I got something I need to say about him and Jets fans' reaction to him. You don't want to miss that one. Tight end Tyler Conklin, 67 snaps, plays almost all of the time for the Jets, up 14. Jeremy Ruckert getting a good amount of time, 33 snaps, up 12 from last week. Brendan Bates, second straight week he's played, and Anthony Ferkser has been on the bench. So 11 snaps, up 7 for Brendan Bates. So, yeah, a couple times we saw a lot of 2 tight end sets, sometimes even a 3 tight end set or 2. Offensive line, this is for the first time. We didn't have only 5 offensive linemen play. You had Smith, Simpson, Tippmann, and AVT play all 73 snaps. Morgan Moses played 60. Olu Fashanu played 14. So I believe there was one play when the Jets used 6 offensive linemen. And, of course, this coming week, we know Fashanu will be taking Morgan Moses' spot for the next few weeks at the right side of the offensive line. All right, so now let's go on to defense. So the defense played 52 snaps, down 14 from last week. Look at these numbers. Wow. Quinnen Williams, 27, down 22 from last week. Javon Kinlaw played only 16, down 21. Solomon Thomas played 26, down 3. A little bit more of a rotation here. Will McDonald played 30, down only 5 snaps, but he still played a higher percentage. So that's important to note as well. Leonard Taylor. How about that? Leonard Taylor, makes his NFL debut, played 24 snaps, had a whole lot of play. But I think one of the things we really saw, Taylor is more suited as a pass rusher, not a run defender. So I know that New England did get about 2 more yards per run. I think Samini said this, 2 yards more per run when Taylor was on the field versus when he was off. So right now he's more of a pass rushing specialist from the inside. You know what? Fine with me. But you know what? When Leki Fotu comes back, I think Taylor goes back to the inactive list. Michael Clemens, 21 snaps, down 9. Takk McKinley got a little more time in this game, 29. That was up 6. Still didn't see a ton of impact from him, but he is getting more opportunities. Then Jalen Holmes had 19. Braden McGregor had 15. So, yeah, you saw the depth guys get a little bit more playing time in this particular game. Wild Wave, how you doing, my friend? Glad you are here. Fantastic. All right, hope you're having a good week, too. At linebacker, we had Quincy Williams play 52 snaps, down 14 from last week, still played every snap. Jamien Sherwood, 51, played all but 1 snap in this game. Wow. Chaz Surratt came onto the field for 6 snaps as well. And this week, I know CJ Mosley is a game-time decision. I still expect a whole lot of Jamien Sherwood in that game regardless. And then in the secondary, well, Sauce and DJ played all 52 snaps. DJ coming back from the 1 week out. Michael Carter. A lot of people worried about Carter's ankle and how is it really going to hold up over the course of the year. Robert Saleh hinting this might be a season-long issue. Well, you know what? He still played 38 snaps against the team that was primarily, should be running the football, but they're actually throwing the ball, I think, a lot more than they should have. And that was all those are the only cornerbacks that played. No Stiggers, no Eccles. None of them. Eccles went from 66 snaps against Tennessee to a big fat goose egg on Thursday against the Pats. And then at safety, Chuck Clark played all 52 snaps. Tony Adams played 48, so he was out for 4. Isaiah Oliver played 10, down 15, and Ashton Davis got back on the field, played 4 snaps as well. And we're going to talk about the safety depth here in just a moment. So I'll tell you, let's get out of there and let's talk about some news, some Jets news. What is going on? Well, Hassan Reddick's fines have now exceeded $8 million. Now, the news that has really been coming out this week is how the Jets retain his rights. So if Hassan Reddick is on the Jets roster, and that could be active or injured reserve, if he's on the roster for 5 games or less, the Jets retain his rights for next year. But if he is on the Jets roster for 6 games or more, then he becomes a free agent after this season. So you wonder if he's going to come back for the second half. I don't know. I don't know what his plan is, but it's one of those things. If it doesn't happen in the last 5 weeks of the season, you can completely forget about it. Oh, and on a side note, Bryce Huff, 77 snaps, 1 tackle, no pressures. They basically had the same amount of production. So, yes, Harlan, I'm getting that. You know what, Harlan? I'm glad. You just kind of knew where I was going to go before I even got there. Jets picked up a defensive back that can also play safety, and his name is the Green Goblin. It is Jalen Mills. Welcome to the New York Jets. That hair is going to fit. How is he allowed to have green hair playing for the Patriots? How did that work? What did he say? That it was a tribute to the Celtics? How in the world did he get away with that one? Wow. But Jalen Mills is signed to the practice squad. The former Patriot is 30 years old. The Giants actually released him in August. While we have a quick, can we tag Reddick even if he plays those 6 games? Just curious. You mean franchise tag him? I would never franchise tag him. That'd be like a $25 or so million, maybe more. We don't know the numbers yet, but yeah, I would not tag him. It's one of those things where it sounds like both sides just need a parting of ways. And I will say this: if Reddick doesn't play for the Jets this year, he is never going to play for them. If they can't make it work now, why would it work any later? They'll just trade him to a team that has a need at the position and also has the cap space as well. And I think it's to Reddick's own detriment. We've been through this again and again. Players don't take a year off and come back the way that they were. Look at Le'Veon Bell, for instance. Calvin Ridley, maybe, but that's a little bit of a different situation. He was suspended, but he still isn't quite the same player that he was before. I know it's a different position, but yeah. If Reddick was going to come back, I figured right about now would be the time that it would happen so that he would be ready, hopefully, for the Minnesota game in London in a little over a week. in a week and a half, with every day, I'm more and more skeptical. I really, really am, as we all are, as we all have to be. So, yeah, Reddick to me is basically a ghost at this point. Reddick does not exist until we hear he exists. But anyway, with Mills, he was cut by the Giants in training camp due to a calf injury. But exactly what Harlan said, he could play anywhere in the secondary you want him to. Now, in the last 3 years in New England, he started 34 out of the 43 games where he played. He had 123 tackles, 2 interceptions, 13 passes defended, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. He also played 67 games with Philadelphia, including being on that Super Bowl winning team that knocked off New England. You have to wonder if Tony Adams and Chuck Clark are on a little bit of notice here. We know that Joe Douglas has been looking for safety depth for this team. We know about the whole Lewis Cine debacle. He was a target until he decided to go over to Buffalo. So let's see what happens with Jalen Mills and if he does get an opportunity. Now, Brandon Smith was added to the practice squad as well. Now, this is the Penn State linebacker. If you remember 2 years ago, a lot of us were interested in leading to that 2022 draft. This was a guy we were mocking to the Jets in the 3rd and 4th round, right? Linebacker this would be a really good fit. Looks like a good, tough tackler. Well, he's mostly been a special teams player in Carolina and Philadelphia. Now the Jets have him on their practice squad. And not only that, the Jets now have 2 Brandon Smiths on their practice squad. So Joe Douglas's tradition of getting players with the same name continued. The 2 Michael Carters. Now you got the 2 Brandon Smiths. Joe Douglas loves this stuff. But with that, we say goodbye to Jalen Key. He is now locked out of the Jets facility. See what I did there? We wish him well wherever he goes. So Mr. Irrelevant is now irrelevant as far as the Jets roster goes. Bummer, but you're not going to fret over this. We got the great Johnny Jimenez from Virginia. I appreciate you being here. Yes, please hit that thumbs up. That's right. Share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hey, we're up to right around 950 subscribers. We are on that march to 1,000. We're at 949. So we've made a little bit of headway in the last week and hopefully more coming up. All right. I love it. Thank you very, very much. Okay, and I want to talk about a couple of team stats here. We're going to talk about third downs. Let's talk about just how far the Jets have come from last season. Now, the first thing, third downs. Last year, San Francisco, let me say it. That's right. Buffalo led the NFL with a 49.8 conversion rate on third down. The average team was at 38%. The Jets were at 26%, worst in the league. And the next best team in the league, the team that was 31st, was New England. They were at 30%. So the Jets were 4% worse than the 31st ranked team in third downs last season. This year, the Jets are at 57%. That is the best in the NFL. They have gone worst to first, albeit through 3 games, worst to first in one off season. You think the quarterback and the offensive line make a difference? Just a slight difference. But to me, it's Aaron Rodgers more than anything. And I said this on the recap video Thursday night. When the Jets had, in past years, when the Jets had a negative play, a play for negative yards, a penalty, something like that set them back, a bad drop, it felt like the end of the drive. It felt like it was absolutely over. It's like, okay, here comes the punt or the field goal attempt. You don't feel that way anymore as a Jets fan because you got the confidence that number 8 can do anything that he wants to do with the football. It's amazing. When he has time to throw, and he's had time to throw, he makes magic happen. When was the last time you felt that way as a Jets fan about your offense? I could even feel that way in 2015 with Fitzpatrick. I mean, you got to go back to Favre, maybe Brett Favre. I think that's about the most realistic comparison I can make. And Aaron Rodgers is better than Brett Favre, by the way. Just saying. But Brett Favre, if he's dealing with Parkinson's disease, God bless him. God bless his family. I hope hope he's able to handle that well. But certainly that is a bad thing, no doubt about it. So all the best to Favre, even if things did not end very well with him and the Jets. Okay, so that is the first place stat. Now on with third downs. Now with the red zone, check this one out. That was another issue we had last year was the red zone offense. We would get in there. It was pretty much a Greg Zuerlein field goal. All right. So this year, last year, San Francisco converted 68% of the time they got into the red zone. The average team was at 55%. Now, this is jarring. The Jets last year were at 32% conversion on the red zone. So 1 out of 3 times they got in the red zone, they scored a touchdown. That was it. The next worst team were the New York Football Giants at 44. Think about that. A 12% difference between 31 and 32. Unbelievable. Even the second worst team scored almost 1 out of 2 times. Almost 1 out of 2. The Jets were 1 out of 3. Is that crazy? This year, the Jets are at 75%, third in the NFL, only behind Cleveland. How Cleveland is there, I have no idea. I guess Cleveland's been in the red zone like twice because, their offense ain't that good. Cleveland and Buffalo are ahead of the Jets, and they are tied with the New Orleans Saints, who's had a historic start the first 2 weeks of their offense. The difference in the offense from last year to this year is truly amazing. I see a bunch more people have popped in the chat. Feel free to say hi. Down there in the chat, hit that thumbs up. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me tonight. I do appreciate it. All right, so I wanted to give you those stats. Now, I want to spend a minute. Actually, before I get him, I'll get to Malachi Corley in 1 second. One other stat here on the offense. Against New England, the Jets had 70 plays on 8 total series. That's an average of 8.75 plays per drive. That is the highest single game average the Jets have ever had in a win in franchise history. 8.75 plays per drive. Franchise record. Wow. And we know this. The offense hasn't truly clicked yet. They're not quite the running game is good, but they haven't broken off like a long run yet. And just about everybody will tell you, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, almost there, not quite there. And Mike Williams is just starting to get a feel for the offense. Guys, it can really get better from here. Wow. Now, I want to say something, and I feel the need to say this every year. We got to keep our expectations for rookies in a matter of perspective. We got to treat them reasonably. It is amazing what I'm seeing. I have seen people on YouTube, on social media, because I know a lot of rational people hang out there, guilty as charged. I've seen people call Malachi Corley a bust. I've seen them call him trash, which is an absolute pet peeve of mine when people, fans of a team call their own players trash. I just think it's really low down. It is so weak and so lame to do that. He's had 2 snaps, as an NFL player. One of them was a catch. But again, we have to come back to this. He had a very limited offense at Western Kentucky. He was only asked to do a couple of things. He was asked to catch screens, to run a little bit, catch passes within 10 yards, and take the ball down the field. It's going to take him time to learn to run routes properly. But there's no doubt he has the raw ability. He's got the hands. He's got the speed. He's got the agility, the quickness, and the toughness. The key is to find ways to get the ball in his hands. And if you need proof of this, look at Jermaine Johnson. Look at Joe Tippmann. Look at Will McDonald. They were instant contributors their first years with the Jets. Or they were, at the very most, they were okay players who showed flashes at times. But they weren't polished pieces yet. Look at the Williams brothers. Perfect example. Quincy got cut by Jacksonville. Quinnen, for the first 2 or 3 years, people were saying, is this guy ever going to live up to the hype? Quinnen Williams did not come to the New York Jets and dominate from day one. It took several years for that to happen. Now, you could argue with me, well, Y2K, those are different positions. We're talking about a wide receiver here. What about, say, Denzel Mims? He had a limited route tree at Baylor. How did his NFL career go? Very fair point. I'll give you a couple of other examples. Julian Edelman, not too different of a player than what Malachi Corley is. Not too different of a skill set, I would argue, right? You know what Edelman did his first 3 years with the alleged GOAT, as people want to call him? Not my opinion, but that's for another day. His first 3 years in New England, 39 games he played, 48 catches, 479 yards total, 1 touchdown. He basically averaged, in his first 3 years, 16 catches and 160 yards. Basically, 1 catch, 10 yards per game is what he did for 3 years, And he turned out to be a pretty good player. And then Antonio Brown, his first year, 16 catches, 167 yards. That was his whole story. And even though he has a very interesting Twitter account now, he turned into one of the best wide receivers in the NFL for his time. So you got to go easy on the bus label, especially this early. Yes, Braylon Allen is contributing immediately, but the expectations have to be different for him than they are for Malachi Corley. Stephen T., welcome to the show, brother. Anyone else a tiny bit concerned about Garrett being jealous, not getting the yards and the numbers he wants if this continues? No, I'm not concerned at all. He got his touchdown this past week. I would say this: don't count on this weekend being a breakout. Not against Denver. If he can have a big game this week, that will be very, very impressive. But no, I think Garrett's got too good of a head. He's got too good of a base. Garrett Wilson is not a diva. I am not worried about that whatsoever. Roger, how you doing? Yep, that's another example. Terrence Mathis. Well, all it took was him leaving the Jets. The only reason I hesitated to include Mathis is once he left the Jets, he became fantastic. So it was a slightly different situation. Macaroni and cheese. Well, nice to see you, Mr. Cheese. How you doing? I'm doing Gouda. Anyway. Thanks, I'll be here. I'll be here all week. So. There we go. Almost missed this. All right. So, yeah, we got to keep the expectations a little reasonable for Corley. I do expect as the year goes on, he will get more and more playing time, and Xavier Gibson will be relegated to the bench. David D., greetings to you as well. Glad you're here. Steven, Adam, you do such an amazing job. Big things ahead. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I hope it shows I definitely put some time into doing the research and putting these shows together and all that good stuff. Yeah, because I want to do it right. You guys give me your time. I give you my time as well, and I try to make it as worth it as I can, for sure. All right, let's talk about a few injury updates here. We got the news on Saturday afternoon that Morgan Moses is out 2 to 4 weeks with a MCL injury and a bone bruise. Good news is it is confirmed he is not going on IR. Olu Fashanu will slide in at right tackle. So we know Olu will be in there for Denver and Minnesota at least. I think the hope is he returns for the Buffalo showdown on the Sunday night. Now, in Denver, it ain't going to be easy. He's got to deal with Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper at outside linebacker. In Minnesota, watch out for Jonathan Gennard, NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Against his old team in Houston this past week, 4 tackles, 3 sacks. And Patrick Jones on the other side of him, 4 sacks this year. So you have 8 sacks between Grenard and Jones. Offensive line is going to get tested over the next few weeks. But I think it really depends on Olu, how soon Moses may come back. If Olu's doing his job, they'll take their time before putting him back. Man, we got a little bit of an outburst here. Chat is skyrocketing tonight. My goodness. Tony Alexio, that's right. The biggest Chris Streveler fan that we all know. Will the Dolphins sign the scrambling Streveler package? I think Tyler Huntley gets the opportunity to start this week, and I think he should. Not that his upside is very high, but at least he can run a little bit. He has sort of a similar, how do you want to say it? A similar arsenal to what Tua can give you. Not the biggest guy in the world, but has a decent arm and can run a little bit. He's not going to get the ball out as quickly as Tua does. But to me, I think you give Huntley a couple weeks here. The trade deadline is not for, I think, until, I want to say early November, I want to say. So, and again, right now I don't think you can count on Tua happening until he actually does come back. Yeah, November 5th. So Tuesday, November 5th is the trade deadline. Wanted to look that up real quick for you. And, at this point, I think Huntley gets a couple weeks. And then if Tua can't come back, then you got to look at a trade. Because, no, they're not going to bring in Streveler. It's not going to happen. Maybe for the practice squad. Phenom is here. Good stuff, Watsu-K. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. So I think also now Carter Warren is going to be active, which I think is good. He's been inactive the first 3 games. I thought Carter Warren was playing better with all the reports and news that I heard. Warren was becoming a little bit more dependable as tackle depth. So I do like that. That's right. Harlan, welcome, and Tony. That's right. Right now we're still a few likes away. I know we got more people in the chat right now than we need likes to do a wheel tonight. So definitely hit that thumbs up. Now, CJ Mosley, as of now, is projected to be a game time decision on Sunday. Again, don't rush him. Please don't rush him back, especially going against a mobile quarterback like Bo Nix is. You might want the extra speed of Jamie and Sherwood on the field more often than not. So to me, I think it's a situation where if we sit Mosley this week, bring him back from Minnesota against Sam Darnold, you know what? I'm good with that. So to me, I don't mean this disrespectfully to CJ. We love his intelligence, but in this game, I don't think it's a big loss, especially against the limited offense. All right, now let's go around the AFC East and what's cooking with our rivals. So AFC East updates. First of all, with the Buffalo Bills. Well, they sure dismantled Jacksonville on Monday night. I think it did have a lot to do with Jacksonville just being lost right now. Absolutely lost. You know, it's one thing to be a bad team and to become an okay team or even a decent team. But to take that next step, to go from decent to a team that can win in the playoffs, you know, get to like a championship game, that's difficult to do. And right now we're seeing that Jacksonville may not be that team. You know, Trevor Lawrence, oh my God. Who would have thought Trevor Lawrence would have fallen apart this quickly? Hey, maybe that whole quarterback class is going to turn out to be one of the most disappointing ones that we've ever seen. Braden Mann, you're forgiven. People wanted to tar and feather and do worse things to Braden Mann after he made that tackle on the punt return against the Rams in that game that cost the Jets the number 1 pick, and they wound up taking Zach instead of Trevor. Well, it doesn't look like that was much of a loss. And you throw in Mac Jones, Trey Lance, this is going to go down as one of the worst quarterback classes in history. And the Jaguars are paying this guy what? $200 million? $200 million? I'm genuinely sorry that Jacksonville's not on our schedule. Yeah, 4 years, $36.8 million per. Yeah, oh, that was his. That was his rookie deal. That's right, 5 years, $275 with $142 guaranteed at signing. So Trevor Lawrence just got paid $142 million. You might want to move that decimal point a couple of spots over to the left. You know what I'm talking about? But the thing with the Bills, they are really distributing the ball very well. Like Josh Allen, you know, I'm glad I got him in one of my fantasy leagues. 4 touchdowns to 4 different players. Now, Khalil Shakir has caught all 14 of his targets. No one else has really emerged yet as the clear number 2. You got Samuel. You got Coleman. He caught a touchdown, but Coleman was benched in the first quarter for being late to a team meeting, so he still has to learn how to be a pro. It really does look like a 2-horse race right now. Man, that Sunday night game, going to be good. Pardon me. And the Sunday night game I'm talking about isn't just the Jets one. It's this week when they go to M&T Bank Stadium to take on the Ravens. Ravens, Bills, that is a must-watch game. I'm here for it. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, this is like the autism spectrum. God dang. This is like the Miami Dolphins. The Jets of last year have become the Miami Dolphins. You got a pretty good their defense isn't as good, but you got some weapons, sort of revamped offensive line and crappy quarterback play and a very good running back. Skylar Thompson, he suffers a serious rib injury, which usually translates to a broken rib. But when he was in, oh my gosh, he was slow to make decisions, just like he was when he was a rookie. That's why he got sacked 5 times by the Seahawks. And then Tim Boyle comes in. Tim Boyle is on his 7th team since 2021. Oh my God, 7 teams in 3 years. That's got to be some kind of a record. Just has to be. But if I told you before the season started, the Dolphins with this offense would have a game where they did not register 100 yards of offense until the 3rd quarter and finished 1 of 12 on 3rd down attempts, you'd have figured Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Tua, a chain, that they were all out of the game. Oh, well, one of them was, and that was the quarterback. But it's amazing how much quarterback makes a coach look smart, doesn't it? Look at the Dolphins, look at the Jets. The difference is night and day. And to make matters worse, Austin Jackson, the right tackle, left the game late. that thins out an already, battered offensive line that's being held together by thread and twine. Alec Ingold, their fullback, he got hurt. The Dolphins have gone 7 quarters without scoring a touchdown. How much do we wish that the Jets had the Dolphins this week? Oh, my gosh. So Tyler Huntley, to me, he's got to go in. Mike White, say what you want. They let him go. Yes, he wasn't as good as some Jet fans thought he could be, but you can't tell me he wouldn't be doing better than Skylar Thompson or Tim Boyle. Woo! Unbelievable. Roger F. He finally put a refrigerator next to his easy chair and filled it with Yingling Flight. No more Be Right Backs. Well, tell you what. Roger, I can match you on that. I got your Yingling right here. How do you like that? I'm not drinking one right now. I got to go do a long run after the show tonight. So yeah, I will not be drinking anything but water for right now. Tony with the fail, Mary Boyle. Bobby's long lost soap bar. I'm so lonely. Bobby, get zestfully clean. Oh my gosh. Their next game, Monday night. The Dolphins are going to be on Monday Night Football. God help us. Monday Night Football against Tennessee. 2 teetering teams. I'm going to say this. I'll take 2 Monday night games over a Thursday night game. I kind of like it. The fact that they start about 40 or 45 minutes apart so that the games aren't running parallel. One's in halftime while the other game is happening. I kind of like it. And if one game sucks, there's always another game to turn into. So, you know what? I would be in favor of more Monday Night Football and less Thursday Night Football. Just my opinion on that one. Roger always knew I had good taste, yeah. I mean, when I'm home, it's usually Budweiser or Yingling Light. If I'm drinking a craft beer, it varies. It kind of changes with the season. But as far as just the regular brand beer goes, yeah, it's pretty much Yingling Light and Budweiser. No Bud Light, definitely not Bud Light, even before they went woke. I was never a Bud Light fan. Coors Light's okay once in a while. If there's like a special on it, it works for me. What else? The Miller beers are okay. I like High Life, but you can't get that everywhere. MGD, when I was living in the Midwest, was good, but MGD is really a Midwest beer, Miller Genuine Draft. That was sort of in the middle. Miller Lite, it's for a light beer, it's fine, but it's got to be ice cold or it's no good. But as far as the light beer goes, yeah, Yingling Light is pretty much my only choice. So, yes, that's kind of that's sort of the breakdown of my beer preference, or whichever one's on happy hour, that works. So, and as far as the Patriots go, not much to say. Coming off that 24-3 loss to the Jets, there was talks about a quarterback change. To me, you cannot do that no matter what. Not behind that offensive line. You can't have Drake May get killed. Yeah, Roger May says try the Yingling Flight and not the light. I think there's a difference. I think there is too. But yeah, I think I've only seen the light in stores. I don't think I've seen the flight. But there's actually a race I run in Virginia Beach, a 5-mile race, and Yingling sponsors it. So after the race, it's pretty much all the Yingling you can drink. I could not tell you how many I've had after that race. So let's just say those plastic cups, they pile very, very high, and the fun of running through them is it's something else. But I would not be surprised if I've drank 9 or 10 Yinglings in one sitting. Would not surprise me for when I can keep count. But the Jets, with that offensive line of the Patriots, they had 35 dropbacks. What was New England doing coming out trying to throw the ball? They were they threw 2/3 of the time in that game. It was ridiculous. And on their 35 dropbacks, the Jets pressured the Patriots 17 of the 35 times. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, my gosh. And Ramondre Stevenson, for as much as people like him and put him over, he's fumbled 3 times already this year. Thursday was just the first one that he lost. And now the Patriots got to fly across the country to take on the San Francisco 49ers. That's a tricky one because as bad as New England is, San Francisco is beat to shreds. CMC, Samuel, we know they're out. Trent Williams is beat up. Brock Purdy just had an MRI done on his back. George Kittle missed most of – I think he was limited in practice. That could be a very ugly, low-scoring game. So I wouldn't put my best bet. Put it this way: if you're actually alive in Survivor Pool, I don't know how you did it. All right, yeah, Tampa Bay finally killed me this week, so I have a little extra hate for the Denver Broncos right now. But I don't know if I would go San Francisco in that particular game. I think that's a bit of a trap. Just like Cincy was week 1, just like the Raiders were against Carolina also. So just be careful with that. All right, so now let's flip the script, and we're going to start to look ahead to next Sunday afternoon when the Jets host the Denver Broncos. So let's look at a few DVOA stats to get a feel for where these teams are kind of overall. Roger has an unpaid speeding ticket from 1985 in Virginia Beach that he never paid before. The computer that never forgets. You will pay it on your bucket list. I never got a ticket in Virginia Beach, but I got a 1 or 2 in Norfolk. But Virginia Beach, I was always able to be okay. Now, with the Jets, they are 10th in total offense, plus 8 from last week. Defense is up 11. They are 12th. The special teams took a hit. They went down 10 spots, 21st in the league. One missed Greg Zuerlein field goal, and they drop us 10 spots. A little bit harsh, but overall, that ranks us 10th overall because special teams does not have the same value as offense and defense. So compared to the Denver Broncos where they are, so the Jets are 10th. The Broncos are 20th overall. They are 28th on offense. They took a big jump. They were 31st last week. This week, they're now 20th, so a big jump. Their offense is only 28th. Their defense is 14th, a big jump. And the special teams are ranked 2nd overall in the NFL. And we all know who's assisting with the special teams coaching over there, a certain man named Westhoff. The absolute best to ever do it. I think their special teams coach is, I think it's Ben Kawika. I'm pretty sure it's Kawika, who was with the Jets for a while, who was one of his proteges, one of Westhoff's proteges, and they brought him back. Yeah. So Mike Westhoff is technically the assistant head coach, and Kawika, I said it right, Kawika. He is the special teams coordinator. So it seems to be working very well. A lot of it, though, does have to do with Will Lutz being as good as he has been this year. All right. So it's not only that. Will Lutz not only has not missed a kick, but the Broncos are 4th in net punting. So somehow they're 2nd. All right. So let's talk about the Denver Broncos. Now, of course, I'm going to do my game preview a little bit later in the week once we have more time to figure out injuries and some of the different things that might be going on. Get a little breakdown from the Broncos people and see what I can pass on to you guys. But what I'm going to do on when I do this show, the Wednesday show, is the 5 things to know about our opponent. Okay? So we're going to give you 5 things to know about the Denver Broncos. Now, Tony is saying here Mike Williams should have a breakout game. Hold that thought. I'm going to get to the secondary in a little bit. Now, Bo Nix, this is number 1. Bo Nix is completing 62% of his passes, but when he's pressured, he's completing only 44%. That's 27th in the league. Now, any quarterback, their completion percentage will drop a little bit under pressure, but he's only 27th when the defense is getting to him, and we know how capable the Jets are of creating a very dominant pass rush. So, Jets got to put that pressure on Nix, and it will do wonders. Number 2, Denver's running game is really trying to find its identity. So Javonte Williams, who really looked to be on the verge of a breakout a couple of years ago before he got hurt, he is back, but he is averaging just 2.2 yards per carry. Jaleel McLaughlin, also averaging only 2.2 yards per carry. So Williams, you'll see him used more in the passing game, but he just has not been the same since that torn ACL. I think Brees has come back much better than Javonte has. But I'll tell you who's doing pretty well is Tyler Bidet, spelled B-A-D-I-E. It looks like Beatty, but it's Bidet. So he is averaging 8.6 yards per carry on just 10 rushes. Now, last week he had a 43-yard run against Tampa Bay. So outside of that, it's 9 for 43. One moment. Had to sneeze. Sorry, guys. So Tyler Bidet has been getting some chunk plays, averaging about 5 yards per run in addition to that 43-yard run that he had. And the only reason he was getting called up from the practice squad Okay, he was getting called up, and the only reason that's happening is because Audric Estime, the rookie running back from Notre Dame, who I actually really liked going into the draft, he's on IR right now. He's not going to play. So the Broncos got to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to try to run the ball on this Jets defense that really appeared to be struggling the first 2 weeks, but looked fantastic, holding New England to under 80 yards rushing last week. Can they make a splash play? I think, Dane, I'm sorry. I think that one kind of went over my head. I apologize about that. But no, I think, you know what? That's one of the reasons. I think another reason I'd want to have Sherwood in the game, have that extra speed, because right now they seem to trust Bidet more than they do anybody running the ball. Now the defense. You got to spend a minute here on this Denver defense. They have a very good front seven, 11 sacks for the year. That's 5th overall. They're allowing just 259 yards per game. That's 3rd in the NFL. Now, John Franklin, week 3. We're on week 4. What am I talking about? Wrong slide. Sorry, guys. 5 things to know about Denver. That's the slide I wanted. That looks much better. Okay. So 5 things to know about Denver. So we're on number 3. So they're allowing 259 yards per game. We know John Franklin Myers is there. Zach Allen looks legit. On Sunday, he had 8 pressures and 4 quarterback hits on Baker Mayfield. Ola Fashanu is going to get a good test at right tackle. He's going to face Jonathan Cooper, one outside linebacker. This year, in 3 games, he already has 11 pressures, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. And don't forget Nick Benito. Hadn't been as productive this year, but still very good. All right, so that pass rush and the 3-4 defense that they use, they're really going to try to send some pressure. Some big news, though, came out today about the Denver defense. Their leading tackler, Alex Singleton, is out for the year with a torn ACL. So this might be a situation where you really try to run the ball, target the middle of the field. I want to see slot receivers. I want to see tight ends go after that part of the field. Because the Broncos, they lost basically their defensive quarterback. It's a major, major loss in Alex Singleton. Now, as far as the secondary goes, it's not just Patrick Surtain. Surtain is probably either the best or second best cornerback in the game along with Sauce. Undoubtedly top 3. You could throw in other guys like Jalen Johnson, Chicago, or whoever you want to. But Surtain is amazing. Okay, he has practically shut down DK Metcalf and Mike Evans in 2 of the first 3 weeks this year. But on the other side of the field, Riley Moss is playing pretty well. The Jets got to test him between Lazard and Williams. They're going to have to see. Riley Moss has been pretty good so far. Did an okay job against Chris Godwin. So let's see. Let Jets test Moss, but it's no sure thing. And then also Brandon Jones. Don't forget him. He came over from Miami to play safety. All right, so he came over in free agency, and he's doing well. 11 tackles and an interception. So Jones right now has become a pretty good piece that has replaced Justin Simmons in that secondary. At number 5, Will Lutz has not missed a kick yet. Now, none of his field goals have been more than 45 yards. But last year for the Broncos, he kicked it 88%. So I'll give Zerline a pass for his close miss last week, but he better be ready this time. All right? Because so far, Lutz, special teams player of the week in the AFC for making 6 kicks and helping to kill a lot of people in Survivor, this guy included. All right, so that is all that we have as far as that goes. All right, so I'll tell you what, guys. That's about all. That is about all I've got for the analysis and the breakdown for you. So now I think it's time to have a little fun. So what are we going to do right now? I think it's time to do a tradition that we do every single week here on the New York Sports WickerMedia channel during the Wednesday Night Live. Every week, I head into my little labyrinth. I bust open the books. I pull up the websites. I shuffle through the Encyclopedia Britannica, and I challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in all of the NFL. Just how much do you know about your team, the New York Jets? So if you are ready, it is time. Let's play Jets Trivia. Harlan Abraham taking up the slack for an absent Hank G. Where's he been? Where's Jets Mess? Where are those guys? What's up right now? Where are they right now? So Harlan telling us it's trivia time. There you go. Roger F. is a senior Jets fan since 1968. Okay, Roger, you're in the inner circle. You've been a fan longer than 22 years, so you're allowed in the inner circle. It's all good. You know. Whether you've been a fan 5 years or 55 years, everybody's welcome here. Okay. So with the trivia tonight, just to go through the record, so far I've won 1 and the chat has won 2. So you got the questions week 1 and week 2, but I was able to stump you week 3. And so now let's see what happens. Will we get to 500 or will you go 3 up and 1 down? So we know the rules. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to answer the question. Throw your answers down there in the chat, and let's see how we do. So tonight's question, as I just killed a bug that landed on my arm. There we go. All right. The Jets and Broncos played only once between 1980 and 1992, once in 12 years. Name all 4 quarterbacks that played in that game. There were 2 per team. And just for the record on that, just to give you the year, I have to at least give you the year, right? That would only be fair. I got to pull it back up. I think I deleted the year out. Okay, that game was in 1986, October 20th, 1986. So that was the year the Broncos went to the Super Bowl and the Jets did pretty well. Yeah, almost made it, but unfortunately the season ended in Cleveland that year. All right, so 4 quarterbacks. It was 2 per team, 2 Jet quarterbacks, 2 Bronco quarterbacks. Roger F. says John Elway. Is it John Elway? Of course, John Elway played in that game. Yes, he did. The other Broncos quarterback, I will give you a hint, went on to become a head coach in the NFL for quite a while. Became an offensive coordinator and a head coach. So that'll probably be the toughest one. Yeah, we got quite a few people in the chat. Guys, throw some guesses down in there. No looking up. But the game was in 1986. Grandizer goes with Brock Osweiler. Yeah, is it Brock Osweiler in 1986? Yeah, you got that buzzer for that one, brother. David D goes Brian Greasy. Got 1986. 1986. So who are the Jet quarterbacks in 1986? I know you could get that. All right, 2 minutes down, 3 minutes to go. And, of course, in the next couple of days, I will put up my confidence picks. I will put those up on Thursday night. I have to find a way to sneak those in. Yeah, but I think I'll be able to do it. Got a concert to go to tomorrow night. And then Friday, we'll put up the Jets preview. And the bold predictions, we'll put the bold predictions video up, and then Sunday afternoon and the Sunday night, the 3 plays you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game. Grandizer, yep, Kenny O'Brien. Kenny O'Brien is correct. There you go. That's 2 down, 2 to go. Roger F. says Gary Kubiak. Is it Gary Kubiak? It sure is. Gary Kubiak was the Broncos backup in 1986. Bobby is disguising himself as Dano. 2 minutes left, guys. 1 quarterback left to get. So Gary Kubiak, who went on to coach with the Houston Texans, was the backup to John Elway in 1986. I think he is. Yeah, I think Kubiak is still around. He might be an assistant someplace. I don't know. I don't think maybe he isn't. Were the Texans till 2013, went to the Ravens, to the Broncos, to the Vikings. 2021, Kubiak retired. So 2021, so January of 21 is when he retired. Now he is actually an advisor to a team in Poland in the European League of Football. So Kubiak is employed, but he is out in Poland. Wow, who'd have thunk that? Tony Alexio goes Richard Todd. No, it is not Richard Todd. Neil Rosie O'Donnell. No. It was 1996 we'd be talking, but no. Chuck Clement was an O'Brien backup? No. 1 minute left, guys. 1986. We got 3 quarterbacks, Elway, Kubiak, and O'Brien. 1 left to get. And after this, we'll do a wheel, but we're going to make it a 5-spin wheel. We're going to do we'll do the quarterback wheel, okay? Hope everybody's cool with that. Since we're feeling excited about our quarterback, I thought we should do a quarterback wheel. So you guys came through with the likes, so I thank you very much for that. Grandizer goes Tony Eason. He went deep with that one, probably because he's a Dolphin fan, but it was not Tony Eason. He would know that name. And also remember, if you're a Mets fan or a baseball fan, check out the video I just put up where I kind of went off for a few minutes on Major League Baseball and the Atlanta Braves. Tony Eason or Frank Reich. Frank Reich was here in the mid-90s. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. You are out of time. Baba Booey. Yes, thank you, Grandizer. I appreciate it. All right, so in 1986, the Jets and Broncos played. That was their only game between 1980 and 92. Name the 4 quarterbacks that played in the game. John Elway, Gary Kubiak, Ken O'Brien, and Pat Ryan, who also started a playoff game for the Jets that year. I thought Kubiak would be the one that people wouldn't get, but yeah, Pat Ryan. Yeah, Pat Ryan was not guessed in the chat. Wow. All right, guys, you are 2-2, so I'm sorry to tell you, but this particular game, as far as the chat goes, it happens. But you know what? We got a chance to redeem ourselves. And we're going to try to do that right now because we are going to spin the wheel. And I'm going to go ahead and try to pull that wheel up. Sometimes, as you know, this takes a second or two. I got to refresh the page and do that kind of stuff. So just give me about a moment. Not now. Yeah, because when you got to share the screen, they make this a little bit difficult sometimes. Okay, present, share screen. Come on. There we go. Here it comes. Spin the wheel. All right, so allow that. I'm going to blow it up. There we go. So, guys, we've got our 5 quarterbacks that we are going to select here on the wheel. We've got it blown up. We've got everything from Joe Namath to Aaron Rodgers, from Bryce Petty to Bubby Brister. And yes, Tim Boyle, our hero, Mr. Fail Mary himself, is here as well. So for anybody who may be new, here's what we do. We have this randomly operating wheel of Jets quarterbacks. We're going to spin the wheel 5 times. And then your job in the chat is to rank where you are going to rank that quarterback 1 to 5. So we're doing top 5. So 5, we want to be the worst. 1, we want to be the best. And we got to rank them after each and every one. And then at the end of 5 spins, we'll see how we do. See if we win the wheel or if we lose the wheel. Roger F. asks, is the wheel updated? Is there anybody, Roger, you needed me to add? Actually, you know what? You know what? I'm going to make one change here. Let's see. I'm going to take out – I feel like I've got to add Rick Meyer in here now. Yeah, Bubby Brister is up there. Roger, is there anybody you wanted me to – yeah, Rick Meyer, I'm going to put him in. I'm going to take out Matt Robinson because I don't know how many of us have, vivid memories of him. So let's do that. Chester McLaughlin. Okay, 370 pounds, rest of the soul. All right, guys, so we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to land on a quarterback, and you in the chat tell me where you want me to rank them, 1 through 5. And we're going to spin that wheel in 3, 2, 1, spin. And we come to a stop on the aforementioned Neil O'Donnell. All right, well, this is going to be a tough one. He did get to a Super Bowl, just not with us, and was a okay quarterback, better than others, not as good as others, but Bill Parcells never, ever, ever liked O'Donnell. He was injury-prone, got hurt quite a bit, and the fact that in that last game in Detroit with a playoff spot on the line, he used Leon Johnson and Ray Lucas. That told you all you needed to know about how Parcells thought of Neil O'Donnell. All right, Tony Alexio's going with number 3. Guys, put your numbers down here in the chat. Let your voices be heard. Anywhere from 1 to 5. Let your voice be heard. Harlan's going bottom of the barrel 5. Wow, you put Neil O'Donnell below Christian Hackenberg and Tim Boyle and Zach Wilson? I mean, I wouldn't put him 1 or 2, but I don't know if I could put him at a 5, you know? All right. See there other numbers come in. Right now, I think we're leaning at about a 4 here. Okay. Roger, you can't go 6. This is 1 through 5. We're just doing 5 spins. That's it. I know we got a lot more people in the chat, but I'll give you about 15 seconds. Well, guys, I know you want to vote. Come on. All right. Right now, I think we're leaning towards a 4. I think I would go about 4 on this one because I know we're going to get somebody worse. It is not possible that we get 4 quarterbacks better. It's not going to happen. He didn't play well and he got injured a lot. Yeah, Harlan, you're exactly right. But we had a lot of guys who were worse. Grandizer, we're doing the wheel. We're ranking Jets quarterbacks. So 5 spins. Our first spin is Neil O'Donnell. All right, I'm going to go with a 4 on this. I'm going to kind of balance it out. Okay, spin number 2. Get your numbers ready, guys. In 3, 2, 1. And the wheel of quarterback spins, and we land on. See, this is why you don't put Neil O'Donnell at number 5, because you can land on Christian freaking Hackenberg, who never played a down with the Jets, but was still somehow drafted in the 2nd round. Thank you, Mike McCagnon. Couldn't even make it in the freaking XFL or UFL or whatever FL it was. They traded up for this stiff in the 2nd round. Is there anywhere to put him other than 5? I don't think so. Yes, I agree, guys. There's not even a doubt on this one. Christian Hackenberg 5, and that's, yeah. You're welcome, Harlan. Okay. All right, we got 3 spins left. Now, we got to get a little bit better here. We got to get better than Neil O'Donnell. So let's spin the wheel in 3, 2, 1. And it's coming to a stop on Ray Lucas. Oh, man, how much do you miss him on SNY doing the postgame, after the Jets struggle, giving the team an F. Oh, I miss those Fs. But hopefully he's in good health. I don't know what Ray's been doing since he left SNY. He's like never on Twitter or he's never doing anything. It's sad. But, you know, after Vinny went down for the year, it's a shame that Parcells took so long to insert him. He was playing Rick Meyer. Ray came in and got the Jets back to 500. It was pretty impressive. Roger, we're just doing, I said, we're doing 1 through 5. That's it. 1 through 5, just 5 quarterbacks. It's going to take too long and we'll have too many repeats. You know, I have to, Wednesday nights, I got to head to the gym. So we got to keep it a little bit, we got to go a little quicker than we usually do it. So Harlan goes 3, Tony goes 3. Yeah, I think I'd probably go with that as well. Give everybody just another minute or so. Nice turnout in the chat tonight. That's awesome. Okay, I think the 3s are going to win this one here. All right. Ray Lucas gets spot number 3. So we got number 5, Christian Hackenberg. Number 4, Neil O'Donnell. Number 3, Ray Lucas. We always save number 1 for last, don't we? Pretty much. All right, here we go. Spin number 4 in 3, 2, 1. Wheel is spinning, and it comes to a stop on the recently congressional hearing attendee, Brett Favre. Well, it was 1 year. It's unfortunate he got hurt, had a couple of big games, but at the end, it was a complete disaster because his Iron Man streak was more important than the team was. So never really wanted to be a Jet, as we all know. Couldn't wait to get out the door. Tony Alexio is going to go number 1. I can't. For me, I would go number 2 because Favre never even got to the playoffs. We have a number of quarterbacks that were legit. That I think I would put above him. Not looking at the career, I'm looking at the Jets' career. So, if we're looking at overall career, Favre would be the number 1 player on the wheel or number 2 player on the wheel. But for me, yeah, I just cannot put him. I just can't put him there. Harlan's going 2 as well. Okay. All right, folks, let your voices be heard. Billy SBC's here. How you doing, man? Glad you stopped by tonight. Okay, right now I think Brett Favre is going to get spot number 2. Looks like the 2's going to get this one. And that leaves us with spot number 1. Roger, Brett Favre diagnosed with Parkinson's. That's why he was sending his urology pictures to the Jets team. Yeah, to Jen Sturger. I don't think Parkinson's makes you do that unless you hit the – I don't want to do that. That's not right. I'm sorry. That's not right. I was trying to figure out how Parkinson's can make you accidentally send a picture of your junk to a hot girl. Yeah, what other picture was he going to send to her? Some inspirational quote from Aristotle or a Bible verse? I doubt it. There we go. Just killed another bug that was trying to get on my tablet. So he is now heading to the he's done. Okay, we've got number 1 left to go. Number 5 was Hackenberg. Number 4, O'Donnell. Number 3, Lucas. Number 2, Favre. All right. And again, we said this earlier. All the best to Favre and to Deanna and to his kids. Nothing but the best. Because that disease don't play around. Michael J. Fox will tell you. So, but hopefully medicine gets better where these things can be handled. And these guys don't have to live with these things. All right, last spin of the night. And, of course, before we go, I thank everybody for hanging out with me tonight. It's always a lot of fun when there's a nice big crowd. I'm excited for this weekend against the Broncos. Be sure to stay tuned to NY Sports WickerMedia. Click that alert button so you always find out, that little bell, so you find out when I drop a new video. Okay, enough of the plugs. Spin number 1 in 3, 2, 1. Spin. Let's get a good one. Come on, go. Quincy Carter. I can't quite do that. He didn't play too many. He didn't play too many games with the Jets at all, did he? I know he was the backup. I can remember a few things, but oh boy, yeah, Quincy Carter. I got to look this up. What were Quincy Carter's stats with the Jets? I know he was mostly with Dallas. So in 2004, Quincy Carter was only in the league 4 years. It felt like longer. He played 7 games, started 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jets were 2-1 when he played. It's actually not horrific. How many yards did he throw for? 498 in 3 games. Not overly impressive, but okay. I can't put him above Brett Favre, though. I just can't quite do it. So as far as this quarterback wheel goes, no. Yeah, had Favre been number 1, I still don't even know if I put Quincy Carter ahead of Ray Lucas, to be honest. Carter to me would be number 3 on this list, 3 or 4. Only 3 games, but hey, it was a winning record. I guess that means something. So, all right. And Billy's right. Don't sleep on Denver. Yeah, I agree, especially the defense. That's a very, very good defense. Just going to have to figure out what they're going to do. Again, I say run the ball, target the middle of the field. Don't be throwing outside. This is not a day for Garrett Wilson to go off. I don't even know if it's a day for Mike Wilson to go off necessarily. Might have a big catch or 2, but I don't think it's going to be a high-volume day for him. Conklin, even Ruckert, the running backs, whoever. I will say one other thing about that game. Garrett has been playing in the slot nearly half the time. Surtain tends to travel with the other team's best receiver. It's going to be very interesting if he travels with Garrett or if the Broncos use their slot corner to try to cover him. It'll be very, very interesting. Jeremy, hey, where you been, man? Just missed the quarterback wheel. All right. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope all is well out in Sacramento, California. All right, guys, I got to get going. So, again, I appreciate everybody stopping by tonight. Have a fantastic rest of your night, rest of your week, and I will see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Good night, everybody. Elon, you're late. Way to blow the lead. See you later, guys.